Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally. Today we're making peach pie with a ginger snap crumb topping. Oh my goodness, amazing. So you're going to start with 6 large, 8 medium-sized, very ripe peaches. And you are going to go ahead and peel them and slice them, put them in a bowl with about a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of white sugar, and you are going to mix that all together. Now, I love fresh nutmeg, absolutely one of my favorites, so I just go ahead and grate some over the top of that. And then I didn't show you that I added about a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And here I'm adding about a 1/3 cup of flour, but that's going to obviously depend upon how juicy your peaches are. Mine were very, very juicy, so I went ahead and mixed that up, and then I let that sit in the bowl while I make the crust. If you want to make the crust first, you can, but you'll have to refrigerate it while you're making the filling. So either way. So here we are with the ingredients that we are going to need to make a simple one pie crust, because we're going to do a crumb topping. So I started with 1.5 cups of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Put that in your mixing bowl, and you are going to need about 4 tablespoons of shortening. And then once you've got 4 tablespoons of shortening in there, you're going to want to go ahead and pulse that until it gets kind of a crumbly mix. And then you need cold butter, 5 tablespoons chopped up, and the cold butter helps to keep that pie crust all together. And so you're going to make that again kind of crumbly, and then you want some ice water. Honestly, it's really going to be dependent upon how you want your ball to form. So using the paddle attachment, you're just going to put a little bit at a time while it's slowly turning until it looks something like cookie dough. Once it's all stuck together on the paddle, that is perfect. You do not want to overdo anything here. So now you're going to sprinkle some flour on a flat surface. I usually just clean my countertops real good and go right up on the countertop. Take your rolling pin. And by the way, you could have purchased a pie crust at this point, but I like to make it fresh every now and again, much more frugal. And then go ahead and just put that down, flip it around a couple times to get it good and floured, roll it out, go first one way, then another way, then another way, then another way, because obviously you don't want that out of round. And then you want to, flour it as needed so that you won't stick to the rolling pin. Then fold it in half and gently lift it into your pie pan. This is a 9-inch pie pan. And I just removed some of the edges with a knife and then put it in an area that needed just a little extra over here, and just pressed it around with my finger until it looked, somewhat normal. And you can even see the cold butter still in there. That means you haven't overdone, you haven't been playing with it too much, because that makes it tough. Then just go ahead and however you like to do the edges of your pie crust. Honestly, I just pinch it between 2 fingers, around and around and around until I get some semblance of this is, not going to be any beauty contest here. It's just a pie crust. But now, if you want, this is an optional step, you can take an egg and you can separate the yolk from the white, and you can just kind of quickly with a fork just kind of mix each of them in their separate bowls. And then you are going to want to take a little pastry brush of some sort and dip it into the egg whites. And this works really well to just wipe, kind of brush that all over the entire crust when you're using a crust, a filling that's very juicy. Then you're going to go ahead and put the filling right on top of that. And I used a slotted spoon so that I still had the flavoring, but not too much of the juices. And then once that's full, you are ready for the crumb topping. You need 3 tablespoons of soft butter. Put that in a bowl. And then you are going to need cinnamon and nutmeg, maybe a 1/2 teaspoon of each, some sugar and brown sugar, and some flour. And honestly, I will put the recipe in the description, but it is going to depend on how much crumb you want. So this will be a give or take. And then I love ginger snaps, and I especially love them on things like peaches. So I had about 8 or 10 ginger snaps, less than a dozen probably left in the bag. Took my rolling pin and just kind of went over it and over it and over it till they were nice and crushed, and threw that in. And then the butter makes it all sort of a crumb topping, so you can literally just kind of sprinkle it with your fingers all over the top. Now I could have and probably should have did the little egg wash on the edges of the pie crust prior to putting this in here, but I didn't. So I just went ahead and brushed the egg yolk all around the edges to keep that from burning, and then baked it in a preheated 450 degrees. Now you're only going to do 450 for 10 minutes. And then you're going to reduce the heat to 350 for exactly, in my case, a half an hour. It was perfect when that half an hour was up. Here it is. It came out absolutely perfect. I love how beautiful it is. Here it is on my hutch with some of my fall decor, just kind of for the season. I'm not a pumpkin pie fan, but I do love peach pie. In fact, I'd have to say peach is my favorite. And so I definitely highly recommend, if you've got a couple of juicy peaches, to give this a try, or a crisp if you don't like making a crust. And my husband and I had it after dinner, and it tasted absolutely phenomenal. It is just a spectacular, sweet, but wonderful peach pie, especially with the ginger snap or graham cracker, if you like graham cracker, in there as your special topping. And that's the same kind of topping I use on an apple crisp as well. So there you have it. I hope you try it. If you do, please drop me a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one.